Title: The Girl with Abundant Blessings. Abuja, Nigeria, home to Africa's Afrobeat, an oil-rich nation, and the most populated country in Africa, nicknamed the Giant of Africa. The Story of Evelyn, Episode 1. Once upon a time in the city of Abuja, lived a girl known as Evelyn. She was a struggling young girl living with her grandmother in one of Abuja's poor neighborhoods. The story of Evelyn began when she was still living with her wealthy parents back in Lagos, Nigeria. She was the only child to her parents and was always treated as a princess. Her father, Mr. Benson, had a brother named John, who also lived with them and was in charge of looking after Evelyn when her parents were not around. John was a very kind and loving uncle who constantly bought gifts for Evelyn. But all this would change one morning when John dropped off Evelyn at school and headed back home to meet Mr. Benson. As he got home, he noticed that Mr. Benson was in the shower and his wife had left for the market to buy food. So, John sat in the living room waiting for his brother to finish. Then he noticed a suitcase laying on the table. And out of curiosity, John decided to check what was inside the suitcase. Once the suitcase was opened, John was shocked to find millions laying inside. It was money Mr. Benson had loaned from the bank to finance one of his construction projects. Then, out of greed, John took the suitcase and ran away to an unknown destination. When Mr. Benson came out of the shower, he noticed that the suitcase he left on the table had disappeared. At first, Mr. Benson thought he may have left the suitcase in the bedroom and not the living room. But after searching for a while and still couldn't find it, Mr. Benson immediately called his wife and asked if she took the suitcase that was laying in the living room. His wife replied, "No," and proceeded saying, before she left for the market, the suitcase was still laying on the table. Then, as Mr. Benson looked through the glass window of his living room, he saw the car John took to drop off Evelyn at school and immediately knew his brother might be the one who had taken the suitcase. So, he tried calling John's number several times, but could not reach him. Then Mr. Benson quickly rushed to a neighbor's house and asked to use his phone to call John, since he was now suspicious that John may have blocked his contact. But after making several tries to reach John to no avail, Mr. Benson decided to report the matter to the police, who promised to leave no stone unturned until John is found. When Mr. Benson took the loan from the bank, he used his home and other assets he had around town as collateral, since the loan he took was huge and was meant to build one of the largest malls in town. A week later, after John ran away with his brother's money and was now living with a friend, he began looking for means to travel out of the country, specifically to the United Kingdom. So he went online searching for any agents who could help him process the proper documentation for him to travel abroad. John himself was in no mood to visit any of the embassies since he knew the police might be looking for him everywhere. So, John kept hiding in his friend's place and only stepping outside when it was dark. Unknown to John that his friend who was now housing him had taken note of the way John was protecting the suitcase and knew he had something precious inside. Then his friend came up with a plan to get John drunk so he can find out what was inside the suitcase. So, he invited John on several occasions to go out and have a beer together, but John kept refusing for obvious reasons, as he was now a wanted man. Then one evening, John's friend decided to invite him for a couple of beers at a newly opened nightclub around the neighborhood. The plan finally worked since the nightclub wasn't far from where John and his friend were living. As they went out to drink, his friend made sure John drank as much as possible so as to completely knock him out. When they returned home, John was exhausted and fell asleep only to wake up the following morning. Once John got out of bed, he felt a slight headache, which was a reminder of how much beer he drank at the nightclub. Nevertheless, John went to the bathroom and took his shower before seeking breakfast. When John was done taking his shower and was about to have breakfast, he noticed that he hadn't heard from his friend since morning. So, he tried calling him on the phone, but his friend's number wasn't going through. Then John quickly rushed to check on his stolen treasure, which he hid under the bed, but to his greatest surprise, the suitcase was gone. His so-called friend had stolen the suitcase and left for good. John didn't know what to do and couldn't report the incident to the police since he was still a wanted man. To be continued. Please like and share the video.